Hello and welcome back YouTube. I am going for a game in the JgPzE100, and if we have time I will swap over to the JgPzE100 just to see how they compare. So as you can see here, a pretty decent lineup compared to what we usually get on the test server. In the entire game there's only one FV15B, so it's going to be a good one, I hope. So we are going to first of all sit in the bush ahead of us, see if we can spot any people coming down the middle of the map. Sometimes you do get a surprise rush down there, and usually there is no one to defend it. Very narrow gun traverse on the JgPzE100. Sadly something you have to get used to. This is what I'm talking about. As you can see, our back chat was doing the move that the enemy team can do sometimes, and he has chosen to go down the middle instead. So as our JgPzE100, and it looks like the 263 is going to need some backup. As you can see, the manoeuvrability of this tank is vastly improved over the 704. Both the turning and the straight line cruising speed have definitely been increased. And with 303 penetration, we should not have a lot of trouble penetrating and killing these big guys down here. As you can see there, we put a big hit into the 113 tier 10 Chinese heavy. However, we need to retreat as our reload will not allow us to stay there. We also set him on fire, but his automatic fire extinguisher quickly put that out. The artillery putting a massive hit into us and forcing us to lose more health than we really should have. We also trade shots with the 268, leaving both of us on very little health. So 263 goes down. We put a massive shot into the IS-7 before we are sadly taken out by the artillery, who seem to be tracing us for the entire game. We shall have a look at the post-game results after. However, we are going to hop into a quick one with the JgPzE100. So 268 game was very average. Let's see if we can do any better in this tank. Personally, I prefer the 268 due to the manoeuvrability and the slightly faster gun, but I feel the JgPzE100 is slightly better, just due to the raw alpha. However, it does rely on its team a lot more. Only having to play tier 8 and up TD, 8 and down TDs, the ACMLE 48 was my highest. I am not 100% sure where to go, so we are going to head right and see what we can do under the bridge. Here we can see the horrific reload on this beast of a gun. However, it is not that slow, it's surprisingly quick for such a big tank. And except the lower plate, there are very, very few weak spots to hit. Especially as it's so tall, it is extremely hard to hit some of the weak spots on the top of the tank, such as the MG port at the top left, as you can see. As you can see there, we bounce a shot. No idea what it's from. Bounce another 3. We try to get into position. However, we are not going to stick around and wait. That's very helpful, Mr. 121. So we take aim at the object 704. And somehow we bounce. Now we have to go for a horribly long reload cycle. That was a really unfortunate bounce, and the object 704 is probably praising God for that. So now this mouse is going to make it extremely tough for us to take any form of shot. We go back to the 704, try again, and we put a big hole in him, just under 1,000 damage. So sitting for a massive reload time, we can see that they have a lot of tanks that are just sitting there. A T-57 Heavy may be a bit careless, sitting there unloading his clip like that. We have a move into position to take a shot, so we aim, take the shot, and it goes down, I believe. The shot dropped. So again, we fall back and go into the reload cycle. And this is personally why I do not like the JgPzE100, because you are out of the game for so long. Please don't die there. Oh my god. And the T-57 Heavy dies in one of the most awkward places he could. We see a green reticle, we fire and hope, and it does indeed finish the 704 off. Who's foolish enough to stay in the same place for the entire time? So we do move up before our reload is finished. Trying to hide the lower plate. Again, another bounce, this time off the IS-4, and through the long cycle again. I feel with the type of tank the JgPzE100 is, as good as the pen and the gun is, it doesn't seem to perform that way for me.
Enemy armor is destroyed.
However, it is good enough to take out a batch at 155.58. But the way our luck was going, we had every chance bounced off him as well. There's a Foch 155 there, so I do not feel like moving up in a hurry. We are still reloading, and we are not allowed to kill. We bounce the Foch, put a big shot into him, we angle our armour, he doesn't get to take another shot anyway. So we are not going to reload in time to kill the IS-4. The Leopard 1 rams him in anyway. And this game is over for us. However, we did take only one penetrating hit straight through the superstructure, as you can see right there, which was unfortunate. FE is coming back. We cock up our shot, not realising that he was stopping, and that cost us another kill. However, we still walk away with the win, and again, much better than the 268. So there you go, third class mastery. As you can see here, we got one shot into the bat at 490, one shot into the forge for 1107 damage, and two into the object for all of his health pool at 1600. Here in the detailed report we can see the gun is not entirely accurate, and I'm not lying, you can rewind, I did aim there. So we missed two, and then two failed to penetrate, even though we have 299 mil of armour. Just shows tanks like the Object 704 with that angled armour are capable of bouncing even some of the biggest guns in the game. The armour is definitely one of the strong points of this tank. It definitely allows you, even with your reload, to sometimes sit there depending on the type of tanks firing back at you. So the JgPzE100 is a good tank if you have the patience. However, the 268 on the other hand, a horrible game. We still managed to win as we held off the enemy team long enough. 268, we got some spotting damage in there, not a lot, but it always helps. The 113, we damaged his fuel tanks, as we remember we set him on fire, also dealing a huge 1004 damage with one shot, 904 to the IS-7, and 813 to their object. So here in the detailed, we only fired 3 shots, and they were relatively close range, so we expect to hit with all of them. However, we penned with all 3, and considering we shot the front of the 268, the side spaced armour of the IS-7, and the front angled armour of the 113, that is reasonably good, due to your 303 penetration. We did a lot of damage in those 3 hits, and we did take a shot doing 850 damage. The rest of it was artillery, which is just typical really. But not a very healthy income there, due to our quite quick death and shell cost. As you can see there, we were still 4th on damage, with 3 shots fired. In JgPzE100 we were 2nd and only 4 penned. So both high damage machines. However, I still prefer the 268 due to the higher rate of fire. JgPzE100 is fun, but I do not intend to get one in the future, just due to I don't like playing tanks this size, and the reload is just too long for me personally. However, this has been Zervos. I rate both these tanks in my description, so if you're not interested, leave it be. But I always give my tanks a rating, just in my honest opinion. That's not accounting for anything else anyone else has said. But this has been Zervos, and I hope to upload more channel videos soon. I will see you all soon.